I want to welcome you guys to the show. My name is Jody Tays. I am the host of this show. I am the owner of Explora Creative. And today we have Isaac Justesen, who owns Patient Partners. And we're going to be talking about SEO. So Isaac, I am going to open it up to you and just tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into this field.
So my background is in marketing. I was working for different tech companies and a variety of different industries and stuff like that here in town. And I one day had the chance to work with a physiotherapy clinic. It was actually my dad's clinic, and they were struggling with their marketing results. And so I said, "Hey, Pops, let me help you out, and we'll see how it goes. If it goes poorly, I mean, you need a new marketing person, anyways, then great." And long story short, we ended up crushing it. They're getting, record numbers of new patients and stuff like that. And I also, got the joy of working with my dad, which was awesome. And so that's kind of how Patient Partners started. And now, we've got clinics all over the country, and it's just been an awesome industry to be a part of.
Yeah, well, that's awesome that you got to start with your dad. You got to be your guinea pig.
Yeah, exactly. Any mistakes early on, it was no big deal. And yeah, it's sort of been, I like to think of it as sort of like a win-win-win, where the clinic wins and I win, get to do the marketing, and then the community wins as well. So it's just been an awesome industry. To go from tech to helping out clinics was a refreshing change for me as a marketer. And so it's been an awesome journey so far.
Awesome. And where are you based out of right now, Isaac?
I'm in Victoria, BC, over on the West Coast.
Nice. And are you working with clients typically all across Canada, or is it Canada and the US?
Canada and the US, predominantly Canada right now, but I've got a few clinics down south as well, and
Mhm.
all across the country. And so lots in the West Coast, lots in the East Coast, not so much in the middle, but
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll fill out
The gap,
the gap.
the real thing.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, so to kind of just give us an idea of what we're going to be talking about today is tell me, what is SEO? What does SEO even stand for, I guess, and give us an idea of like what are the basics?
So SEO stands for search engine optimization, and some suggest it's all optimizing and improving how you show up in search engines. So search engines, for the most part, obviously means Google, but also, Bing and Yahoo, and there are a handful of other search engines out there. But most of the time when we talk about SEO, we're talking about how we show up in Google, and how do we get to that first page or that number one spot on Google. And so that's, at a very high level what SEO is and what it's all about. But there's a couple of different tests as well. For example, there's local SEO, which is very much about your Google business profile and showing up in that map pack and sort of that map listing, versus organic SEO, which is more about kind of optimizing the website and where you show up in the organic results. So if you can imagine, you do a search for massage therapy Victoria, you're going to show up, what's going to show up is a map with a couple of different listings. And so that's, really that local SEO. But then as you scroll down, you're going to get a list of websites. And that's more about that kind of organic SEO. And so they're very much similar and interconnected. But we kind of talk about them as two separate things. But for physio clinic, healthcare business, any local service business for that matter, both are super important.
And so local service business, meaning that you are serving clients within like a specific region.
Within a specific region.
Okay.
So most healthcare businesses, that would be, yeah, sort of, a certain number of around the clinic, um, or, as long as you're not sort of an online only type of clinic. Yeah, that's what a local service is.
This might be a weird question, but is there like an average radius around a clinic that you're typically trying to pull from?
Good question. I would say probably about 7 to 10 kilometers is the average radius, and we use that in when we're setting up ads as well, for that matter. But unless you're in a more rural or like a smaller town where, I don't know, maybe the 7 kilometers, a radius,
Mhm.
so in those situations, perhaps it's smaller. And then likewise, perhaps for some hyper dense areas like downtown Vancouver, you're actually only focusing on, a couple of kilometers.
Wild.
It's really where you're focused on. But for the on average, I would say about 7 to 10 kilometers, because lots of people are willing to drive, 7 kilometers, 10 kilometers, 15 minutes, something like that, 20 minutes, for the right physio. And that's what we sort of see as about a rough average.
Interesting. Okay. And so tell me how does SEO help clinics attract local clients?
So it's all about, people are searching for your services, whatever type of clinic business you're in, local service business you're in, people doing Google searches for your services. And for a lot of people, that's where they start. They know back hurts and I need some help. So I'm looking for, back pain massage, or I'm looking for physio near me, or I'm searching for chiropractor in Vancouver, any. And so the reality is people are right now searching for your services. If you're a local business owner, people are searching for you. And so if you're not on that first page of Google, if you're not in that top three of Google, you're missing out on a ton of traffic, and really qualified traffic. These are people, they're not tire kickers. I mean, they are looking for what you offer. And so SEO is a massive opportunity for clinics. And there are, if you think about it, some clinics that do SEO really well and they sort of dominate their local search are making hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of dollars in revenue from all of the patients they're getting from the local search. And so there's huge opportunity for businesses to kind of reach patients and drive traffic and get new customers just from SEO.
Yeah. How do you figure out what people are searching for in order to show up in a result? Again, this is like a maybe a trade question here, but how do you even get started figuring out
How do you
what your
even get
clients are
started?
looking
That's a good
for?
one.
Yeah.
Keyword research, you're right, is a very important starting place, because you just don't know what people are searching for. And so keyword, a couple of different tools out there. There's some free ones. Google has a keyword planner tool. There's some paid ones. SEMrush is a big one. SE ranking. There's a handful of other tools out there where you can put in your search term, and it'll give you all kinds of information about how many people are searching, how difficult and how competitive a keyword is, because as you can imagine, some search terms are just not as many people are trying, or businesses are trying to rank for that term. So it's a little bit less competitive, which just means it's easier to rank for. And then with these tools, you can also discover new keywords that you didn't consider, and questions that people are asking that you didn't think of. And so starting with that keyword research can be a really important first step, because instead of guessing and trying this and that, you can actually be really strategic about, okay, here's my list of keywords I want to rank for, and here are the pages I'm going to create or optimize site to rank for those different keywords.
Mhm. Oh yeah, that is interesting. I feel, yeah, I feel like that's probably a whole nother can of worms in terms of even a conversation is keyword research.
Totally. It's a massive topic, and something you could spend, if you wanted to, you could spend hours going down, different rabbit holes of keyword opportunities and looking for, what's something that's maybe is under indexed right now, in that, like, there's lots of search volume but not a lot of competition, and like
Mm.
finding those opportunities where it's still a relevant keyword to your business, but there's low competition. I mean, these are the gems we're looking for in the SEO keyword research game, and not always easy, but when you do, it's always excellent. And can, be really worthwhile.
Yeah, that's where the expert comes in. I feel like that
Yeah.
would take a lot of time to try to figure out how to do that by yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's where it helps to help.
Yeah. So tell me, like, uh, I'd love to get into more into like the benefits for like how SEO can benefit a clinic. But can you kind of give us a few ideas, like what are the myths out there about SEO? So we hear a lot about SEO. It's like you need SEO, you need SEO. Some of us don't even know what SEO is. We're like, what does SEO stand for? People are kind of coming at this topic from a broad range of experience with it or knowledge about it. What are some of the kind of like the major myths that people come to you with surrounding SEO?
Yes, I hear a ton of sort of misconceptions about SEO, and people like you say they've heard of it, and maybe they even know it's important, but they don't fully sort of what it's all about. And so, I mean, one of the big ones, with I won't go over all the misconceptions. We'll do just a few of the big ones. But
Yeah.
one of the big ones that I hear is, and it's like, well, it's not really worth the for my business. I'll focus on word of mouth, and I want to focus on doctor referrals, and I will focus on these other marketing channels. And the reality is, like, SEO is massive. There's such a big opportunity. Like I mentioned with the clinics that, people that dominate their local search, their whole business could be, it's just based on the organic. And, there are stats out there about how many Google searches there are. There are searches every day. So the reality is tons of people are using it. And every once in a while you'll see articles up, SEO is dead and or died. Now people are using TikTok for their search instead. But the reality is there's still so many people use Google, and it's still so important. And so even for a new business, you might think, well, there's so many established clinics or established websites, established players out there. It's not worth it for me to start doing SEO now. But that's not the case. There is still a ton of opportunity. And there's tons of opportunities for clinics or businesses to do SEO well and get massive value out of it. Another big one, it's sort of a one and done thing. People think, well, let's do an SEO project. What, that should take a month, and then we're done, and
Mhm.
I'll be on page one of Google, and I got to kind of like, well, no, unfortunately, that's not how it works. I wish my life would be a little easier if it was, but it really is. It's a long-term strategy, and it's an ongoing process. Even if you were to just sort of sit down and throw a bunch of updates at Google, like, that's not what's going to take to get you to page one. Even if they're all the right, things you're doing,
Mhm.
it's a long-term, it's a day by day, sort of week by week, month by month, quarter by quarter process to get you to kind of climb the ranks. And with some exceptions, you're not going to go from nothing to number one, overnight or in a month. It's a long-term play. There's lots that goes into it. There's not just the website, there's off-page SEO as well, which is more about backlinks and reviews and citations and, all these things that aren't just have nothing to do with your website specifically. And
Mhm.
so it's not sort of something you can just do once and say, great, I'm SEO'd now, and I'm optimized, and we're good to go. I should be on page one in no time. It's something you've got to really commit to for,
Mhm.
months, years, maybe even multiple years. They're big.
Yeah, SEO, I mean, really, it almost sounds like being healthy. You don't just get to be healthy or like work on a training program or a rehab program. And as soon as you like get that result, you're like, great, I'm here. I never have to work on this again. It's probably something you have to continually put effort into. So it's actually, yeah,
Yes.
there's a lot of connections between that and health, like our health.
100%. That's a great analogy. It's like working out. You don't just get to go to the gym one day. Even if you have a phenomenal workout, it's a great workout, you're not going to see the results. It's something you got to keep chipping away at. And, even if you have times where you work out a bunch, but then you go into a maintenance phase. I mean, this is okay, it's you can do a bunch of SEO work. It's not something that has to be priority number one at all times, but you got to kind of have this of baseline of exercise, baseline of SEO work,
Yeah, a plan.
to stay healthy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Um, which another myth I hear a lot, which is kind of related to this, but it's just like people think, well, I've got my website, so I think that's enough for SEO, is it not? And it's not, unfortunately. I think there used to be a time where it was sort of, you can build it, they will come type of
Mhm.
thing, but it's not the case anymore. Nowadays, there's so much that goes into SEO, and you can, when you make your website, even if you optimize it, some of the on-page content for SEO, it takes a lot of work to build things up. And so
Mhm.
just having a website, while obviously very important for SEO and a important first step, it really first step. And so there's still a lot that goes into actually getting that website to then climb the rank and hit that first page of Google.
Yeah. How long do people need to kind of give SEO to work? I mean, I've heard it's like 3 to 6 months where you got to work on your SEO 3 to 6 months in order to see any improvements or any changes. Again, this sounds like kind of like healthy habits here, but is that true?
That's exactly when I have clients ask me, how long should I always say, 3 to 6 months, and we'll start to see some, improvements. And I have, for faster than that, for some clinics, it can maybe even be a little bit slower. But 3 to 6 months, you should, if you're doing things correctly, that's when you should start to see some, really demonstrable improvements. And but there are some businesses where they're looking at, a year from now, this is where I want to be, and not 3 months from now even, but actually, yeah, a full year. But 3 to 6 months, that's a pretty good timeline to see some really meaningful improvements in how much traffic you're getting from Google, or where you're showing up on the and this type of thing.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm going to kind of backtrack a little bit is like, what is the importance of having one, a Google business profile, a blog, and FAQs? I feel like there's three things that we're kind of told it's really helpful to have. And I'd love your opinion because you obviously, this is like your bread and butter. Is like, do you have to have a Google business profile? Do you have to have a blog? Like, what is the role FAQs play in SEO? And if there's anything I missed, like, feel free to add that in.
Yeah, excellent question. And so the Google business profile,
Mhm.
super important for any local service business of any kind, because showing up in that, your Google business profile is what shows up in the maps. So when someone, that map pack that shows up at the top of the search results, or some people search right within Google Maps. That and so having an optimized business profile is really, this means, you've got your name, your website, your phone number, your hours of operation, like your base, but also which category or categories you've selected in the back end of the Google business profile. Having high quality photos, um, having lots of reviews, the number of reviews and number of 5-star reviews for that matter, also kind of influences the search results and which ones Google are picking. And doing Google business posts and keeping your business profile active, it's all really important, because if you think about it, Google wants to show, when someone does a search for some business near me, and Google is trying to show them the best option they can. And so location is going to be a part of that. If you have a business, 50 meters away from you, okay, obviously that's going to influence the search results.
Mhm.
But that's not the only thing. Google, it's not just showing you the three closest, it's trying to show you the best. And so proximity is for sure a big part of that. But businesses that have a complete business profile, Google kind of make around, well, they must be pretty legit. They keep everything up to date. They're getting some reviews. They're being active. that seems like a legitimate business. And so
Mhm.
that's going to influence how many reviews. Well, if you've got two businesses that are, similar distance away or whatever, one has 500 reviews, one has 50 reviews, Google's going to kind of weigh that in their equation and how they figure out which ones I want to show and in which position. And so having a Google business profile, super important. Not only having one, it's again, much like the website, you can't just build it and forget about it and think
Mhm.
SEO is done. Excellent. You got to keep working on it, keep building up your patient reviews, keeping it active, keeping it accurate and up to date, and adding new photos here and there. And
Yeah, you
so,
mentioned posts, Isaac.
mm,
What can you post? Like, what kind of information would you post on your Google business profile? We're trying not to
yeah,
scare
and so
clinic owners. They're like, I got to post on social media, and now I have to post on
yeah,
Google,
that's right.
my
That's
Google
right. And
business.
that's what I tell lots of clinic owners. I'm like, kind of think about it almost as another social media channel. And they do exactly, they're like, come on, man, not another one. And I'm like, no, 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 trust me, it's not so bad. And so you can do um, updates about the clinic, just for example. So you have new services or whatever update promotions. So if you're running a new promotion or whatever, you can, but you can even do, I'll do Google business posts for, oh, go check out our newest article. We wrote an article all about, X, Y, or Z. You have an image about it, maybe just like the image you used in the blog post. You've got a little caption, a call to action to post, and we'll do them about different services. Sometimes we'll even hype up reviews, and we'll say, thanks so much, Jody, for this 5-star review. We love to hear this kind of feedback, and we'll kind of in Canva or wherever, make a little graphic that's got your review in there, and so you can really share a lot of different types of posts and information.
Yeah.
But those are some of the main ones that I tend to use.
Awesome. That's super helpful. Thank you. And then what about the
Yeah.
blog? I mean, quite often I feel like business owners are told, and I'm guessing at some of these myths, but I know we have clients that come to us and say like, well, we were told we needed to have a blog. Um, is that true as a clinic? As a clinic, do you have to have a blog? Will that make a difference for how you come up in search results?
So that's a good one. And I feel like blogging is something that a lot of clinics I see, like maybe they used to do some blogging, but they haven't posted in a couple of years, or like you say, they don't have a blog, or some also are very good about posting all the time. And so, I mean, the answer is a little bit yes and no. So having a blog is for sure valuable. You're creating great content, you're educating your audience, you're creating more internal links, some traffic, writing a blog post about whatever topic, and it starts to rank and do well, you're going to be getting some traffic. It might not be local traffic, to be fair. This might be, you write an article on pickleball injuries, and how to rehab pickleball injuries. Well, maybe there's someone on the other side of the comes across your article, so obviously they're not for a local business. That's not really, in terms of revenue, that's not going to do a whole lot for them.
Yeah.
But that's so blogs are useful in all these ways. That said, it's not like you can't be successful with SEO without a blog. You can still, if you're doing lots of these other things right, there's still a lot of opportunity to do really well with SEO. Now, I tend to tell clinics, let's do a blog, let's do a monthly. It's not, it's pretty, the amount of effort too hard with a monthly blog together, you review it, and we'll do some linking, stuff like that. Gives us content for the website, gives us content for the Google business post. It gives, maybe some content for social media, and you can kind of repurpose the blog post. If you had a couple of blog posts about a similar topic, maybe we package that into an ebook, and it's kind of a lead magnet on the website to get some
Mhm.
emails. So I like to sort of use blog posts as to get more value than just the post itself. And so I often, let's do a monthly blog post. There's value in it, but yeah, all of that said, it's not like if well, you don't have a blog and that's the reason you're not ranking. I mean, that's not 100% true. There's so much that can be done without a blog. And I see some websites that rank really well that don't have a blog. And,
Okay.
you know,
Okay, so it really kind of depends on what you're going for, and blog may or may not. It's not going to be make or break in terms of your SEO results.
no, exactly right. And if you're really trying to, you've got a relatively large business, and you're really trying to sort of push the envelope for just like 1% improvements because things are pretty dialed in, blogs become really, really important. Now, all that said, I've got a blog for patient partners. We've got a blog. We write articles and um, about SEO and
Yeah.
other sort of clinic marketing topics. And so um, if that's whatever that's worth, the marketing guy's got a blog. So I think they're useful, but yeah, like you say, they're not the make or break in whether or not you're successful with SEO.
Right. Does just out of curiosity, does length of blog post make a difference at all? Like if you do choose to have a blog, is it good to like short, long?
Excellent question. So there it's funny, SEO is always changing, and marketing often ruin everything because someone says oh, blog post it ranks best, and then out there is we're all hitting that word count. And so there was a time not that long ago where people were writing really long form content. It was 5,000, 10,000 word blog posts where you're just
Wow.
really deep into a topic, and those seem to be ranking best. Nowadays, it seems like the average is much shorter, maybe 1,000 words or something like that, or even like 750 words. But that said, it's also sort of become there's no best length. It really depends on the topic you're writing about and then answering question we're writing about. So, going back to pickleball injuries and rehab, it's not about can we summarize this in 1,000 words. It's about writing an article that answers this topic completely and satisfies, if someone was searching, what's their search intent? They're trying to figure out, these injuries and how to rehab them. So we want to satisfy that search intent in whatever length of blog post, it takes. And so the important thing to think about hitting a word count, but to answer the question or the topic completely. And so if that can be done in 500 words, fantastic. If it takes 2,000 words, well, then, it's a 2,000 word post.
Wow, that actually feels a bit more human than just having this like set word count. It actually is probably more helpful as the user if your question's actually answered. It doesn't matter, like you said, if it was 500 or 2,000 word count. It's like, did you answer the question in the best way
Exactly.
possible? Okay.
Exactly. And Google is always making algorithm updates. Panda was one of their recent updates, and it was really targeted at content. And with AI coming out, they were really focused on the quality of the content. And so they're looking for all these fascinating signals to try and figure out, okay, someone went to this blog post, was their question answered? Were they satisfied? And so, yeah, Google is looking at all kinds of signals. And so, yeah, word count is not quite as big of there was a time, yeah, where it was really like, if your blog post is in 2,000 words, just forget about it.
Wow.
But yeah, nowadays it's much more nuanced than that. And like I say, it's more human. It's about like really thinking about not just optimizing for SEO. I mean, you'd think as an SEO person, that's what like that's our job. We're optimizers.
Yeah.
But it's about optimizing for the reader and the person on the other end.
Yeah. There's actually a lot of empathy for the person on the other side of the
Yes.
screen, essentially.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Awesome. And so what about FAQs? I kind of want to bring into FAQs is again, something that we hear a lot is you should have FAQs on your website. Is it per page? Is it just one FAQ section for your website? Again, is that something that makes a significant difference for how you show up?
That's another good one. And so, I'll answer that in a couple of ways here. First of all, I think FAQs are useful from a user experience perspective. And as a website person, you probably, can appreciate how it's all about lots of what we're doing on the website is overcoming objections and minimizing uncertainty and answering questions. And so with an FAQ, we can kind of really directly and explicitly say, just answer potential questions people are going to have that, maybe perhaps if you don't have that answer, there's just like a level of uncertainty and sort of question, and maybe they don't book because they don't take that next step because they're like, well, I don't know, do you work with my insurance company, or do I need a doctor referral, or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think there's a user experience argument for FAQs, but on the SEO side, I do also think there's value there. And first of all, we can answer questions, and so some of these questions people are literally going to type into Google. They're going to say, you know, do I need a doctor's referral to see a chiropractor or whatever? And so if we've answered that question, like, really, really accurately, that's going to help us show up better. And it's just opportunity to add some relevant content, some more keywords to the page. So it's useful in that sense. There's also something called schema markup, which is like, now I'm getting into the weeds a little bit of the SEO. And schema is all about, it's like this code you put in the back end of the website, which informs Google about what the page is about. And so just for example, if you've ever like done a search for something and you see the search result and it has like the number of reviews right on the organic listing, or some of this other information right on the organic listing, that's usually coming from schema markup. And so there is a type of schema specifically for FAQs. And so by having the FAQs, you can have this additional markup on the website, which just gives the crawlers more context and more information about, this is what the page is all about, this is what the site is all about. And so another opportunity to help improve your ranking. So in general, I'm an advocate of having FAQs, whether it's on one page or on every page. I mean, I probably would tend to say, put it on, if it's say we've got different services we're offering and we've got a different page for each one of our services, I would say probably an FAQ on each one of those. You might have a general FAQ section where we're just answering some of the common questions, regardless of what service or product or whatever people are interested in. There's still, I just have, a handful of general questions. Well, you might have an FAQ page for that, but I think in general, I would say try to put your FAQs on the page that's most relevant for that particular question.
Got it. Again, that's actually kind of an empathetic, from a design perspective, it's having empathy for your user, being like, where are they on the website and how do we get them the information that they're looking for, and like reverse the risk for them in the way that we design and in the way that we present the information.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Okay, so the next question is, what stage of business do clinic owners benefit the most from SEO services?
So this is a good one. And I mean, the short answer is at any stage, SEO can help. But the reality is at different stages, you're going to have different SEO needs. I mean, if you've just started your clinic, your needs are going to be different than if you have 5 locations and 50 people on your team. What you need from SEO is going to be different. And your marketing budget and how much you can afford to invest in SEO is also going to be different. And
Yeah.
I sometimes clinics will ask me about, well, SEO or should we do PPC? And do I do the ads, do the SEO? And I kind of tell them that it's a little bit like you could either buy your tomatoes or grow your tomatoes. If you need some tomatoes, you can go to the supermarket and buy your tomatoes. That's your PPC. You go out, you spend some money, you get tomatoes. You need more, you spend some more money, you spend some more money. Whereas the SEO is like you plant some tomatoes, and then with enough time and like nurturing and effort, suddenly you're getting tomatoes, without having to pay money each time. And so for depending on where you are in your stage of business, you might be leaning towards one or the other. If you have no patients or no customers, well, maybe you think, well, I can't really afford 3 or 6 months. That was the kind of timeline we were talking about. I can't really afford to wait 6 months before I get anything. And so, maybe I'm investing more in like ads and some of these more immediate marketing channels. But that said, you can, picture two different businesses that start at the same time, and one buys ads and one focuses on SEO. I mean, the right answer is both, but one focuses on ad, one focuses on SEO. In a year from now, one's going to still be buying ads, and they're still costing however much money,
Mhm.
whereas the one who focused on SEO is now so much further ahead in the SEO game. Now they're getting all this traffic for free. Um, and so even if you're a new business and maybe you don't have a massive marketing budget,
Yeah.
understandable. But I want to encourage any business owners listening, do invest some time and energy into SEO, into ranking, into setting your website up correctly, getting your Google business listing, getting some patient reviews, all of these things are going to help you be much further ahead a year from now. But at the same time, if you're a big business with, even if it's just one location, but you've got, 5, 6, 10, 15 teammates, then at that point, you need to be really thinking about SEO and how much value you can get from the traffic and investing a chunk of your marketing budget into SEO.
Into SEO. Okay. Um, so then that brings me to my final question here for you, which is, what are the top 3 questions someone should ask before hiring an SEO specialist?
Oh, I mean, there's lots of red flags out there, and
Yeah.
I might give you more than three even here. So, the first question I would say to ask is do you understand my industry? Because going back to the empathetic component here, it's not just about optimizing for a search engine. We're optimizing for people, for searchers, and by extension, the search engine, yes, of course. And there are back end things and code and schema markup, um, where it's very much for the search engine. Okay, granted, but the vast majority of SEO work is about the searcher, and so if someone understands your industry, they're going to be miles ahead of just a generalist because they've got this kind of baseline of knowledge and they understand the context of the services you offer. And so I would say rather than just going with a SEO generalist,
Mhm.
find someone who does SEO but understands your industry. Find someone with a track record of growing, growing clinics or just being successful with SEO. I see lots of like Instagram ads and stuff like that of people being like, oh, I took this weekend marketing course and now I'm selling SEO services. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't know, how I question. So either way, find someone who's got a good track record of growing clinics.
Yeah.
I think communication is a big one. I find a lot of the clinic owners I chat with, and even like early on in just like our first phone call, that's one of the things they'll say, well, I'm working with someone currently, or I was working with someone, and the communication wasn't there. They would, it would take them weeks to get back to me, or yeah, I felt like I was just getting passed around to different account managers, or just like that communication piece I think is so important because your business, if you're a business owner, like your business is super important to you. And, even if things are, regardless of how things are going with your SEO, like you want to talk to another person and like make sure you're being heard and any issues can be talked about. So I think communication is, find someone who's got a good communication process, makes it easy to keep in touch, and regular meetings, every other week or at least once a month you can meet and talk about updates and what they've done, what the agency has done, what clinic updates, maybe you have new teammates or new services or whatever at your business. So now we've got some additional SEO work to do. So I think that communication piece is really important.
Yeah.
um, I would say run away from any agency that guarantees you, I guarantee you'll be number one in Google by next weekend. just run away. If if all of us marketers could guarantee that kind of stuff, I mean, who knows what search results would look like, because we're all just, we'd all it's so the reality is there are no guarantees. We can do lots of things right, of course, and we can do the work, we can put in efforts and nice things and keep on top of Google's algorithm updates, but the reality is you can't guarantee these types of things, and certainly not within an unreasonably, a suspiciously short timeline. We can
Sounds too good
say
to be true. It is.
exactly. Sounds too good to be true. It probably is.
Yeah.
And so I would say run away from anyone that makes those types of guarantees.
Hmm.
And then similarly, run away from anyone who I'm a big data guy. I like to have some numbers, and it's sort of a benefit of being, like a digital marketer, is that I get to have all these neat stats. For a brand and a website person like yourself, it's tougher to be
Yeah,
like
we've talked
this
about this.
brand. So find someone who will share the data with you. That's it's not they're keeping it to themselves and just showing you what they want you to see, because it's you can play around with stats a little bit and make things seem perhaps better than they are. And so find someone who will share the SEO data with you. As the business owner, you don't even have to go into the data and like get into the nitty gritty of it. But if they're being cagey with the results, I would say that's a bit of a red flag. I want to, this person should be transparent essentially with the results, with the data, because yeah, otherwise, it's easy to kind of make things seem better or worse than they might be, and all that. And so yeah, find someone who share the data. And
Yeah.
then I guess the last question you should ask an agency before you hire them is like, can you audit my site and where we're at today? And then kind of paint me a picture of where we might be, not where we will be in 3, 6, months, but like, how are we doing today? What are my biggest opportunities? That type of thing.
Mhm.
And before you hire them, it should probably be a free audit, or at least a very inexpensive audit,
Yeah.
and just kind of give you a bit of insight about where you're at right now. What are your biggest SEO opportunities? And then like what might we be in 3 months, 6 months, a year from now,
Yeah.
something like that.
Is that fairly common practice in an agency to do a free audit or to do like a low priced audit, kind of like entry audit?
Yes, I mean we offer free audits,
Yeah.
and I know there's plenty of other marketers out there that also do this. You've got a sales call first, and these types of things, which um okay, fair enough. Some of them are kind of like an automated thing where you just put in your website and it'll tell you, oh, you're a score out of 100 or something. I
Mm.
tend to do slightly more in-depth ones where people will send me their business name and their website and stuff like that, and then we're actually like we're using tools as well, but then we're looking into the website, we're looking at their competitors, their social, their all of this stuff. And so, but it is I think it is a fairly common practice. And so yeah, if they're not willing to kind of do that audit, that would be another kind of red flag that, oh well, maybe I'll look around a little more.
Yeah. Oh, the reason I asked was just for clinic owners or anyone listening to this show is just like, is that something normal that people like that I can ask as a client? And like, am I totally within my right to ask for an audit or to ask about that service? Because I think we come into these, especially in the digital marketing space, is we don't know what's normal and we don't know. It's such a different world from the clinical treating a patient space, as we don't know what's normal, what's not normal. And so just having some freedom to like ask that question or know what we're looking for can be really helpful.
100%. And yeah, if anyone listening wants a marketing audit, you come check out Patient
There you
Partners. Come
go.
to our website. Is you fill out. There's like a little form. We'll just ask your clinic name and website, your email, and we'll put together an audit. It's like an SEO audit, but also just kind of a general marketing audit. I like to look at conversion rate optimization, and I'll look at social media and yeah, what your competitors are doing, this type of thing,
Mhm.
and I'll send you an audit. It's completely free, no obligations. I always like to talk through it in person.
Yeah.
because I just find you get a little bit more value out of it. But at the same time, it's always a pretty chill conversation. I don't go too hard on the sales pitch or
Yeah.
anything like that. So
Well, I feel like it gives you a chance to actually communicate with the other person as well. If you're doing, you're presenting them with the results, is you guys get to both vet each other. Like, does the communication piece of this relationship work? Because you are going to be working together for, you know, 3 to 6 months and longer, like, and beyond, right? So
100%. Yeah, that's exactly right. And I find a lot of a lot of our clients started with an audit, and that was exactly right. We had the chance to chat and have a conversation, and
yeah.
they see how I work, I see how they work, and things kind of go from there naturally.
Yeah. Yeah. So if someone did want to reach out to you, like we've talked about there's a free website or sorry, a free audit that they can sign up for on your website. We'll put the links to that in the show notes. Is there any other way that they can get in contact with you? How can they reach out?
So you can feel free to shoot me an email. That's Isaac at patientpartners.co.co. You can also find me on Instagram, or yeah, check out our website, patientpartners.co. Feel free to request an audit or shoot me a message or anything like that. I'm always happy to chat about SEO or anything.
Awesome. Well, I just want to thank everyone for watching, and thank you so much, Isaac, for being on the show today and just sharing what you know about SEO. I know I learned some things I feel like I got lots of my own questions answered, and can't wait to have another conversation with you in the future. So thank you so much.
Absolutely, Jody. It was great chatting with you. And yeah, thanks for having me on.
You bet.